Thank you for joining me, Ashwin Berry, on NMH at 1, where we highlight the news making waves in Namibia and beyond, ranging from current affairs to community stories, sports and economic news. Coming up in this broadcast, Bank of Namibia Governor explains how the bank is working to assist with the effects of climate change. NamRa seeks tax from eembe. Government still undecided on 24% green hydrogen equity offer. Follow all our programs on oneup2.com or DSTV 285 or GoTV 25 in Namibia. Midday News Update up next. The police in Kavango East have reported that a 7-year-old girl from Hoha village was caught by a crocodile while she was taking a bath in the Kavango River. According to the police report, the incident happened yesterday at around 6 p.m. The victim has been identified as a grade 1 learner at Rukara Combined School. The body has not yet been retrieved. Visual News highlights local stories from across Namibia right after the break.
We are so excited to be kickstarting your morning with entertainment.
Everything was happening during this past weekend.
Yes.
Exciting news.
Wow, no, she was killing it already.
In my opinion, I don't see anything wrong with him serving the full term.
As well as keeping you informed on the issues that you need to know happening in and around our country.
The governor of the Bank of Namibia, Johannes Xabagaba, explained today at the 57th SADC Committee of Central Bank Governors meeting in Swakopmund how the bank is working to assist with the effects of climate change.
In the most recent times, we had drought in Namibia in 2013, we had in 2016, 2019 drought was quite devastating. 2022, we have heard from our Prime Minister, it caused high levels of food insecurity, it caused water problems in our country. And in 2023, if we listen to all the baseline forecasts, another El Nino is looming. So the Prime Minister said the government is going to intervene until June next year to try and assist. That is how real climate change is. So it affects productivity, it affects water, it affects food security in the country. That's how it affects the nation. So how should we think about this as a central bank? In as much as I agree with the mandate of central bank being price stability and financial stability, the way we think about this is what Sabina mentioned to, alluded to, is we have got the ability to analyze. The research capability of most central banks is quite good. So we need to use that capacity to analyze and monitor, to understand what are the credit risk caused by all these, what's the inflation risk that's being brought by all these, and based on that we need to decide how do we craft our monetary policy. That's the first one. The second one is on financial stability. You know, as central bankers, we supervise most of the commercial banks. So we need to understand how these risks translating into risk at our central the commercial banks. And our commercial banks must really, in the investment and lending decisions, start thinking very, very seriously in terms of stress testing. What's happening? Our non-banking financial sector, the insurance particularly, because insurance manages and distributes risk. So the nexus between commercial banks and the insurance is something we need to understand. That's the way we think about this Bank of Namibia in terms of the risk that climate is introducing into the economy.
Traders of eembe who import the fruit from outside the Southern African Customs Union for commercial purposes will have to pay the taxman his due. The Namibian Sun has more as we head into the newspaper review segment.
Good evening and welcome to Sunset News.
Dutch stays in list A in his speech, rate in taxes, and how much
After the break, we take a look at the sports.
We bring you
Economic indicators, tomorrow's weather and sports. I am Aina Raiza Kweyong.
Traders of eembe, dry wild berries, also known as bird plum, who import the fruit from outside the Southern African Customs Union for commercial purposes will have to pay the taxman his due. The Namibia Revenue Agency said traders will have to cough up the normal rate of 10% customs duties and 16.5% value-added tax, or a 20% flat rate based on the value of the imported goods. This is displayed in a public notice issued by the agency on importation procedures regarding commercial and non-commercial goods from non-SACU member states. In terms of the Customs and Excise Act, duties must be paid on commercial goods valued at 500 Namibian dollars or more. NamRa spokesperson Tonateni Shidudu said the rate of customs duties differs on various commodities. For example, millet, maize and wheat are free and zero rated for VAT, irrespective of their origin. A man facing a charge of culpable homicide appeared in the Katutura Magistrates Court this week. Paulus Kambata pleaded not guilty in connection with a fatal hit-and-run accident about 3 years ago on Windhoek's Western Bypass, which killed cyclist Ingrid van Wyk Schultz. Kambata's trial began on Wednesday, with the first state witness taken to the stand. The state claims that Kambata passed another vehicle on the left with his Mercedes-Benz and that he hit Schultz from behind on her bicycle. He apparently sped off afterwards. During his bail application, Kambata claimed that Schultz swerved in front of him. The accident occurred on 15 November 2019 at the four-way turnoff to the University of Namibia. With a dry, rainy season due to the impact of an expected El Nino still ahead, around 22% of the Namibian population are already facing high levels of acute food insecurity. Real action is needed to reduce food gaps and protect the livelihoods of residents. 12 of the country's 14 regions are classified by the Integrated Food Security Phase Classification System as Phase 3, which indicates a crisis. The remaining 2 regions, Erongo and Khomas, fall in Phase 2, which means food security is already under pressure here. Food insecurity occurs when people have limited physical and economic capacity to secure enough food for households. A former magistrate's third attempt to be released on bail was rejected in the Windhoek High Court yesterday. Yako Kennedy stands accused of raping 2 women. He was arrested in January 2015 alongside his co-accused Ray Clutter. The 2 allegedly raped a 43-year-old woman on the road between the Katutura State Hospital and the Windhoek Central Hospital on 3 January 2015. Kennedy was released on bail of 3,000 Namibian dollars, but was arrested again on 30 January 2016 on a second charge of rape related to an incident in December 2015 when he allegedly raped a victim in his vehicle. Both men pleaded not guilty at the start of their trial. Now, Agomana Zeitung front page with the resolution of the Nairobi Declaration. The African states want to enter the upcoming World Climate Conference in Dubai in November on a common basis for negotiations. As a continent, we have developed our common position, Kenyan President William Ruto said. According to the African Union, the Nairobi Declaration was adopted unanimously among the states at the summit. Numerous governments and actors already pledged their financial support during the summit. Namibia Airports Company says it has made no mistake with its decision to award a lucrative ground handling contract to Paragon Aviation Group, claiming it sees no long-term reputational damage as a result of its decision. This follows the evacuation of Hosea Kutako International Airport by UK ground handling company Menzies Aviation after handing over the contract to provide the service to Paragon. Menzies has since objected to the eviction and has now also launched a challenge to the tender process for the award to Paragon on the grounds that Paragon does not have the necessary knowledge or experience to provide ground handling services at the airport. Despite the eviction, Menzies continues to maintain offices at HKIA, although his storage unit remains under lock and key. Stay with us as we continue with the Namibia newspaper.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouthwatering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
A resident of Onawa area, Joshakati Victoria Amwandangi, is accused of using the identity card and payslip of Julia Amutenya, a teacher at Joseph Simaneka Asino Junior Secondary School in the Oshkoto region, to apply for a loan of $290,500 Namibian at Lesego Bank. Prosecutor General Martha Imalwa, in an affidavit filed at the Oshakati High Court as part of an application under the Prevention of Organized Crime Act to seize Amwandangi, asked Amutenya to provide her ID card on 2 March via SMS so that she could register her at their church as her maid of honor. Page 3 of the paper reports that Police Inspector General Joseph Shikongo has rubbished claims that the continuous detention of social activist Michael Amshelelo is due to the police. Shikongo says Amshelelo's detention is due to the fact that the case is before the court. He made these comments during a training workshop held in Windhoek on Monday on freedom of expression and journalism for police officers. Water Minister Carl Schleitvine has operationalized the Water Resource Management Act to allow for equitable access to potable and sufficient quantity of water within a reasonable distance. The notice in the Government Gazette was issued by the Minister on 29 August 2023. Under Section 1341 of the Water Resources Management Act of 2013, I determined that the Act comes into operation on the date of publication of this notice in the Gazette, Schleitvine said. The Act effectively repealed the Water Act 54 of 1956, which applied the rules of well-watered countries of Europe to the arid climatic conditions of Namibia. The Sokomu municipality has extended the contract of their current CEO, Alpheus Benjamin, for another 5 years. Benjamin's contract was expected to end on 1 December this year, but the council opted to extend his employment based on his significant contributions to the town's development. The council made this announcement during a press conference held in Swakopmund yesterday. Now, Andrada Mining Limited, which operates in the Uwis tin mine in Erongo, expects to receive funding of 100 million Namibian dollars from the Development Bank of Namibia this week. The money will be used to fast-track the second phase of the continuous improvement project at the Uwis mine, Andrada said in an announcement on the stock exchange. The conclusion of the DBN funding is an essential component of the overall funding and development strategy, Andrada CEO Anthony Filyun said. Now, government has set November as the deadline for its decision on whether to take up a 24% equity offer in the green hydrogen project run by Hydrogen Energy. We get into this with economic news shortly.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
Government has set November as the deadline for its decision on whether to take up a 24% equity offer in the green hydrogen project run by Hydrogen Energy, worth a staggering 14.4 billion Namibian dollars. Green Hydrogen Commissioner James Mnyupe, speaking on the agenda, said government has no obligation to take up the offer, and if it does, it has several financing options to consider. In June, Mnyupe told Namibian Sun that government prefers to fund its 24% stake in the project in order to guard itself against escalating costs of equity capital for investors. Many Namibians have questioned why the country must fund equity in a resource it owns, but Mnyupe at the time said if Namibia had demanded a free 24% equity stake, incoming investors would have to generate a 33% higher return to achieve the same outcome, and consequently Namibia's hydrogen projects would be more expensive and less attractive to investors. Let's head into the economic indicators. The Namibian dollar trades at 19.08 next to the US dollar, with 23.77 Namibian dollars getting you 1 British pound. MTC managed an uptick of 0.10%. Overall index and local index both closed in the green. And it's looking like gold and Brent crude oil are in the green, whilst copper and platinum made some dips. Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni has urged Ugandans to be vigilant in the wake of terrorism threats. More in news from Africa shortly.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraifa. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and
Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni has urged Ugandans to be vigilant in the wake of terrorism threats, asking that all visitors be checked before entering places of worship and recreational facilities. In a televised address to the nation on Thursday evening, President Museveni asked Ugandans not to allow any strange people to churches and mosques and report them to the police. Don't allow anyone you don't know to enter your church, to enter your mosque. No strangers should enter your church. They must be challenged, isolated, and reported to the police. For the hotels and lodges, take the particulars of people who come here. Make sure they show you their identity cards with their pictures, he added. He asked people to be calm amid terrorism threats linked to the Allied Democratic Forces militants, saying the security forces were hunting for them. Uganda has heightened security surveillance following increased attacks by ADF militants. Mr. Museveni's remarks come days after Ugandan police foiled a bomb attack on a church in the capital Kampala on Sunday and recovered 5 more explosives a day later. The firearm used to kill one of South Africa's leading rappers, popularly known as AKA, has been found, police confirmed. Kiernan Forbes was fatally shot in February along with his close friend, the chef and entrepreneur Tebelo Tibbs Motwane, outside a restaurant in the coastal city of Durban. Reports that the murder weapon had been found started circulating in May, but police dismissed them as malicious and unsubstantiated. Now, KwaZulu-Natal's police chief refused to give further information about where and when the gun had been discovered, saying that would jeopardize the investigations that were at a sensitive stage. No one has yet been charged with the 2 murders that were captured on CCTV and caused national outrage. We swing over to Hong Kong in international news.
Neopaints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neopaints commits to our quality guarantee and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neopaints, we always stay true to our country. We are as Namibian as you.
Hong Kong and southern Chinese cities are battling widespread flooding as the region endures some of its heaviest rainfall on record. On Friday, streets and subway stations were underwater in Hong Kong as officials shut schools and workplaces. The Weather Bureau said the downpour, which began on Thursday, is the biggest to hit the city in nearly 140 years. Authorities have had to conduct several rescues, while pictures showed locals wading through flooded streets. On Friday, Hong Kong authorities said at least 83 people had been taken to hospital in the past 24 hours due to the wild weather. The rain has also triggered landslides blocking some roads. Weather authorities issued a black rainstorm signal on Thursday night, a warning triggered by rainfall exceeding 70 millimeters an hour. Now, the Hong Kong Observatory later reported an hourly rainfall of 158.1 millimeters, the highest since records began in 1884. A record number of children from Latin America and the Caribbean are leaving their homes in search of a better life, risking disease, injury and abuse, a United Nations Children's Agency report said, urging a stronger humanitarian response. Driven by violence, destitution and severe weather, some 40,000 children crossed the perilous Darien jungle separating Central and South America last year, compared to just 29,000 in 2021 and several times more than in previous years. In just the first 6 months of 2023, over 40,000 children made the dangerous journey, indicating the total number is likely to be much higher at the end of the year. 600 of the children were unaccompanied. Gang violence, instability, poverty and climate-related events are alarmingly gripping the nation and pushing more children from their homes, UNICEF Regional Director Gary Connell said in a statement. We start off with World Cup rugby and the Valviches in local sport.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
Namibia and Italy will face off at Stade Geoffrey Guichard on Saturday at 1 p.m. The excitement has been building for months, and now the time that rugby enthusiasts have been waiting for has finally arrived. The city of Saint Etienne in France will wake up to Italian and Namibian chants by dawn tomorrow as the two nations go head-to-head in their first group stage match. Namibia has played in 7 Rugby World Cups before, but there is always a new hope ignited every time they wear the prestigious national colors on the world's biggest rugby stage. The fans and players have been yearning for their first ever victory at a World Cup. Praised for qualifying again, the fans have demanded a bit more from the team every time they put their bodies on the line for the nation at the global showpiece. Now, Namibia's Brave Warriors coach Colin Benjamin's charges will head into tomorrow's friendly match against South Africa's Bafana Bafana, knowing that bragging rights are at stake. The two teams will meet in an international friendly at Orlando Stadium on Saturday at 3 p.m. It has always been a match where both sets of players needed little motivation when the two teams crossed paths. The rivalry between the two neighboring countries might have lost some of its venom, but some players are still expected to have that fire in their belly when playing against each other. And the third version of the Nedbank City Dash will take place on Sunday morning from the Zoo Park on Independence Avenue in Windhoek. The event, with more than 2,000 participants, is not only a sporting event, but a day for friends and family to enjoy. The City Dash starts at 7:30 a.m. with the elite 10-kilometer race for women, men, under 18 runners, as well as wheelchair and visually impaired athletes. The winners of the respective elite divisions will be able to pick up incredible prizes with courtesy of the organizers and sponsors. Lots of sports happening on the weekend, but there's also a lot happening in the arts and entertainment industry. And the best way to sift through it all is through the Weekend Gig Guide. Up shortly.
Hello NMH at 1 viewers, my name is Michael Kayunde. I'm back on your TV screens to give you guys a lowdown on what is happening in and around the country this week. This is the Weekend Gig Guide, where we get to let you know on some of the events you need to check out. To begin with, you can check that is Chill Sessions tonight on NTV at 1900 hours. That's where we get to count down the latest and trending music videos. You can also catch the show live on Facebook. Moving along with other events you can expect this weekend, you can expect to check out, that is the Orieg Fest taking place here in Windhoek. You can expect performances by the likes of Slime, Mega, as well as Mass Music from SA. Another event you can check out if you happen to be driving to Okakarara, or if you are in Okakarara. The Okakarara Trade Fair Show is taking place on Saturday, that is tomorrow, with performances by the likes of King Tidi, Top Cherry, One Blood, Ongoro no Mundu, and many more.
That's it from NMH at 1. Viva Valviches as they take on Italy tomorrow at the Rugby World Cup. See you next week.